What's up, guys? Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eddie Gray. Welcome to the channel In the Mix with Eddie Gray. Everything's good. Hope you guys are well. Lots to report on this end. Primarily, things are moving forward. I'm of the philosophy that essentially if you take that which is in front of you, opportunities, connections, collaborations, and you maximize, you make the most of them, then that in life, the universe at large will kind of provide you with whatever's next for you. So if you've been waiting for something to happen, if you've been waiting for the right time, it's right now, literally. It's just a matter of tapping in to that frequency. It's like a channel, like maybe you've been in fear, you've been negative, you've been scared, you've been paying attention to the news, you've been dialed into, vexations, wrong people. And then now if you slowly start to, move your focus back inward and with the right community, you can get back on track, and that's what we're looking for here. So this channel here is brought to you by hfmusicacademy.com. This is a community where we all help each other. We've got students from all over the world, and essentially the goal is to come up. There's various people that are on the come up, and if you want to make sure that you get through, you want to make sure you have the proper support system to get there. Who exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about people that want to monetize their music. They're ready to take their music, the music that they were born with, the music that plays back in their head all day, and they're ready to make something with it. And so, I've been on this conquest to just tell people, hey, you can do it. We have to find your angle, your twist, the way that you look at this, the way that you express yourself. How are you going to monetize this in this market today? There are a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of different things that you could do. Let me give you some examples. Just today, I fixed my mother-in-law's phone. Long story short, she dropped it in the toilet. I didn't ask too many questions. I was just like, all right, cool, put it in a bag and let's go. So I went to, the mobile shop, talked to my guy. Hey, man, here's what's going on. And he's like, hey, I understand you do music. He's like, how much would you charge me to do the music for my phone, for my store? And so then we talked and we negotiated, and boom. So that was just something there that wasn't possible before, unless I was in that space kind of looking for the opportunity, right? I've been doing a bunch of reviews lately. If you've been watching the channel, microphone reviews, another source of income for you. Been getting royalties for a long time now. Been putting a lot of people on game, a lot of people that never knew about this world, and just like my mentors have taught me, and just the way that I was brought up in the music licensing industry, I've also now been able to help a lot of different people just by showing them my system, right? The way that I network, the connections that I make, and how I work on a day-to-day basis. So if you're looking to truly make a change and find an actual path, I'm not talking about some hypothetical dream that may or may not happen. I'm talking like facts, like right here today. Can we actually do something? And you can. You can. And how do I know this? Because I was in that same boat for the longest time. When are people going to hear my music? When am I going to monetize? Man, I really want to buy this Kemper. Boom, we got it. Man, I really want to get the API 500 series. Boom, we got it. Right? How do you make that switch? How do you all of a sudden turn a new leaf? It happens by being in the right system, the right support group. And so that's why I'm here. I just want to make sure that people feel like someone's got their back. All right. I want to make sure you know that Eddie Gray is with you on this journey. And if you have questions and if you want to learn more about how else can I monetize on music, those are the people that I'm looking for. People that are creative, that want to get down, that want to start doing this today. No more waiting. No more dreams, no more maybe, no more tomorrow, no more I'll pray about it and wait to see if something happens. No, we're talking about getting into it and making something happen. I just signed a 10-song publishing deal. Deadline is on the 28th. All right, this is one of the biggest publishers in the game. And I'm going to show you how I write music when I do for these companies on a deadline. The goal really, truly is to have a pool of clients, talking 5, 10, 15, somewhere in that range. And then after you have a nice database, you want to kind of go through them annually, maybe kind of every other year. And that in turn will allow you to have a self-sustainable business for the longest time. I've been doing this for years now. I've been turning over business and I've been finding new clients, new opportunities, and I just want to show other people how to get it done. It's just another way to go about it. If I could go back in time, right? And if I could just change one thing, I wouldn't change the mistakes, wouldn't change, meeting all the people I did, connecting with all the people I did, wouldn't change anything. The only thing I would change was I would have done this earlier, because by now I would definitely be a millionaire. So that's part of where, the magic comes from, like why I'm ignited and why I feel that I want people to know the message, because if they get it now, they can start building something that's sustainable. For example, in September, for all of you people in the world of the PROs and ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, all that jazz, we have a payment coming up, and I know I'm going to get a big fat check, and I'm so stoked. My family, we just bought a home. I'm building a music studio at the pad. You guys will be seeing this actually maybe in a week. And so I just hired, actually, right before I got on, I just hired professional treatment to get in the room. Not because I think it's the truth or whatever, but because I'm at that level and I want to keep kind of pushing forward and pushing the boundaries of what else is possible. There's a couple of pieces of gear that I'm still going to get, and I'm just so excited to be able to share my world of creativity and expression with you. So a couple of announcements real quick. We just got super chats, super stickers on the channel. So if you guys want to go ahead and support us, go ahead and check those out. On the mobile phone, they're like on the lower right hand corner right here, so you can just kind of click there and you can chat publicly and you can go ahead and contribute. And what this does is, it allows a channel to exist. It allows us to, move the business forward. We're going to keep bringing you so much great content by way of analyzing music, by way of showing you what does a composer do, what does a music session look like, how do I construct one of my own, how do I mix, how do I master, how do I use Logic, so many great things. October is going to be a really big month as well, as I've got just a bunch of stuff planned. So that being said, I want to get into what we are doing. So usually we start, if you're new to the channel, we start just by kind of doing a little bit of reading. Some people, they probably don't read anymore, but I believe that not only do you have to foster the mind, but you have to foster the body and the spirit and, your physique. So it's not just about playing guitar. It's not just about producing. You got to make sure all around your mind is right and you're right. Okay. So let's go and check out this book, Steal Like an Artist. So here we are on page 100. All right. And the premise is write what you like, not what you know, Write what you like. So the movie Jurassic Park came out on my 10th birthday. I loved it. The minute I left the theater, I was dying for a sequel. So I sat down the next day at our old PC and typed one out. In my treatment, The Son of the Game Warden, Eden by Velociraptor. I never watched this movie, guys. I was never into this stuff, but Velociraptors goes back to the island with the granddaughter of the guy who built the park. So this guy basically wrote a sequel when he was a kid, right? That's his whole idea here. One of them wants to destroy the rest of the park. The other wants to save it. Of course, they fall in love and adventures ensue. I didn't know it at the time, but I was writing what we now call fan fiction. Fictional stories based on characters that already exist. 10-year-old me saved the story to the hard drive. A few years later, Jurassic Park 2 finally came out, and it sucked. The sequel always sucks compared to the sequel in our heads. That's awesome. The question every young writer at some point asks is, what should I write? Not just authors, obviously, not just novelists, but musicians as well, right? Painters, dancers. And the standard answer is, write what you know. This advice leads to terrible stories in which nothing interesting happens. So don't write what you know, write what you like. My interest in making music has been to create something that does not exist, that I would like to listen to. I wanted to hear music that had not yet happened by putting together things that suggested a new thing which did not yet exist. So this is cool. Brian Eno, if you guys follow Mr. Brian Eno, the guy's musical, juggernaut. I mean, he's created his own genre essentially, and he's got quite the resume, and his history is pretty bombastic. So when you're writing, never a bad idea to be in the flow and like what you do. I see too many creative people in all of my consultation work with all the various people I've worked in the corporate world, and just obviously your normal denizens. People are not in a good mood when they write. They're not in an elevated state. They're not in a state of high consciousness, high frequency. And so when they play back their music, it sounds like that. Right? It sounds like they're making it, well, in a begrudging way, in a state of despair or depraved, and so you want to make sure that when you're writing, that you're uplifted, that you're clear. And if you need to use music as a way to heal, as a cathartic art form, that's cool too. Go ahead and use it to get over those wounds and to go ahead and move forward. But you got to put that negative stuff aside. You got to put it behind you. Use it and then move on. Right? Don't stay in that, because this could be a downward spiral where you're feeling the negative or the pain or whatever it is on and on and on and on. And so that's not what this is meant for. If you want to use it as a way to move on with your life, right? Let's say you're going through some heavy stuff. Fantastic. Use the art to heal, and then move on. So we make art because we like art. We're drawn to certain kinds of work because we're inspired by people doing that work. All fiction, in fact, is fan fiction. The best advice is not to write what you know, it's to write what you like. Write the kind of story you like best. I'll just go ahead and start using my own words here. Write the music you want to listen to. The same principle applies to your life and your career. Whenever you're at a loss for what move to make next, right? I know that happens to you guys. Come on, don't trip. Sometimes you just feel like, what am I going to do? What am I doing all this for? Why are we doing this, right? Why? Just ask yourself, what would make a better story or a better song or a better cue or a better track or a better vocal performance or a better lyric or a... Bradford Cox, a member of the band Deer Hunter, says that when he was a kid, he didn't have the internet, so he had to wait until the official release date to hear his favorite band's new album. He had a game he would play. He would sit down and record a fake version of what he wanted the new album to sound like. Wow, isn't that great? Then when the album came out, he would compare the songs he'd written with the songs on the real album. Now, this guy was a musical maniac, obviously. This guy was writing an album of his favorite band because he was anticipating it, right? That's a true music lover right there. And what do you know? Many of these eventually became Deer Hunter songs. So we're getting somewhere here. Stay with me, guys. Stay with me. When we love a piece of work, we're desperate for more. We crave sequels. Why not channel that desire into something productive? Think about your favorite work and your creative heroes. What did they miss? What didn't they make? What could have been made better? If they were still alive, what would they be making today? If all of your favorite makers got together and collaborated, what would they make with you leading the crew? That's wow. I'm starting to think like Beatles and like, Bob Dylan and the Doors and, like Tupac and B.I.G. I'm just trying to go through my mind all the various greats, and what kind of music you would write with, with all the legends. The manifesto is this: draw the art you want to see, start the business you want to run, play the music you want to hear, write the books you want to read, build the products you want to use, do the work you want to see done. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Phenomenal book. Go ahead and support this amazing author. All right, I'm just kind of reading his books pro bono, but you want to make sure you support the art. The stuff it doesn't come for free. There's a lot of energy, a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of pain, so go ahead and support local art. So cool, guys. So now we're gonna get into the music aspect. So I just want to close the book. You guys know that we open up chapters, we get into certain genres of music. If you don't know who I am, my name is Eddie Gray. I'm a musical chameleon. Basically, I write rock music, hip hop music, and everything in between. Orchestration. I find my way to hack it, and so basically, I'm a proponent that you could do whatever it is you want to do if you want to do it. If you have cause to do it, and if you have enough reasons to do it, then of course you're going to go ahead and do it. And so, if you are somebody that is creative, you have a talent, you know that you can produce music, you know that you can construct ideas, you know that you can generate concepts inside of the DAW. Doesn't matter if you're on Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools, Reaper, or any one of those. What I'm saying here is that if you can find a way to move forward, then you can make money. It's time to start making money doing what you love. It's time to get that bread. I've done it time and time again. I continue to do it on so many levels. Quick story, just so you guys understand my angle here. So you guys know I'm an Apple certified T3 Logic trainer. I live it, I breathe it, I love it. And that being said, I developed the curriculum for Logic Pro for a company called LearnQuest. They're an Apple training provider. You can look them up. And long story short, as soon as I developed it, I saw that there was a gap in the market. No one has really created a comprehensive live loops course. When we're talking Logic live loops 10.5. And I just thought, you know what? I'm stepping in, because if I don't do it, someone else will. They'll be a debutante, they'll be a poser, they'll be a fake, they'll half do it. And I wanted to make sure that I stepped in and I represented for whom, you ask? My sister, my wife, my kid, my community, everybody at hfmusicacademy.com. This is your life, so whatever it is you do, it's a representation of the community that you're in, the people that you live and love. So make sure that everything you do has your imprints on it. Make sure that it's irresistible and irrefutable and beautiful, so that when people see it, they go, wow, that's something special right there. So if you want to check out that Live Loops course, you could do it in one of two places. You can go ahead and check it out on the Graphy app. That's capital Graphy, Graphy, iOS and Android platforms. And that's currently on sale. Incredible Live Loops course. Highly recommend it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it on the market today. And then the other place you can check it out, if you don't want to go ahead and view it on your smartphone, you can go ahead and check it out on hfmusicacademy.com. So that's another platform, and we offer courses there. We offer a bunch of free resources. And matter of fact, last thing here, if you want a free course on how to maximize your desktop and laptop CPU performance, in other words, how to make sure everything is working and stable, we'll go ahead and give you one. So all you got to do is email support@hfmusicacademy.com. That's support@HarryFrank, hfmusicacademy.com. All right, guys. Look, I'm gonna get into it. we started a rock song last week on live loops, okay, or the week before that. These weeks are going, and I showed you how to make rock music and hip hop inside of live loops. All right, so I just kind of want to show you the current state of this track and where it is, and then after that, I'm going to show you the deal that I'm working. How do I write the music? How long do I take when I write the music? And what are my strategies in order to make sure I can perform at a peak level, at an optimum level, while under a deadline? And remember, I'm still moving. I'm moving my music studio this Saturday. So how do you get it all done? How can I balance it all? How do you do it? I'm going to show you. All right. So here's this rock track. If you do remember that we were covering how to write drums like Taylor Hawkins, and so that was a 2-part series. Check that out in the last 2 videos. Should be going live soon. But otherwise, let me go ahead and press play and let you check it. Here we go. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We gotta get to the point where you're so flexible. You can kind of move different directions. You can move different places. It doesn't matter what genre it is. I definitely didn't grow up playing this kind of stuff. You just got to get into the philosophy and the groove. So this is very much like a Foo Fighters song. And if you go through the last videos, you'll see that I basically used the tonal balance control by Isotope. And this gave me like a clear indication of like where my parameters were. Where did I derive these parameters from? Well, I got them from a custom target, one of the Foo Fighters song. And so there's a lot of tricks and a lot of tactics and a lot of strategies that you can use if you want to move your career forward without necessarily having to be some kind of expert. There's no reason to have to know it all. It's just a matter of how to execute it if you need it. So in today's music climate, if you're a composer, producer, creative, and you want to make sure that you can monetize your music, you got to be able to do a lot of things, especially initially, right? Especially like if you're just coming up and you're trying to find an angle, you're going to tell me that you're not going to say yes to the very first opportunity that comes your way. you know, when you're trying to take care of life and, you know, make sure that you advance forward. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to find a way. And so that's what I'm pushing here. This is the agenda is say yes, become better, figure out a way to win, figure out a way to close the deal. My very first deal was with a company, actually one of the more reputable ones. And remember, prior to this, I wasn't doing this work. I had another job, and they came up to me and they're like, well, hey, can you do flamenco music? I did not skip a beat. I said yes then and there. Now remember, at the time I didn't even know how to produce. At the time I didn't even know what an EQ was, and no lie, I mean, I'm very serious when I tell you this. And so you have to get yourself in a position where you're ready to conquer, whether it means joining up, teaming up with collaborators, or having the appropriate software to hack the system. There's no excuse now. There is no excuse. If you need flamenco, I'll tell you what, right now we go to Splice, we find some samples. Now make sure you can clear those samples with the company that you're working with, because you don't want to get, into a snuff with them. You want to make sure that you're on the up and up and things are clean. But there is no excuse. I don't care what genre it is. I don't care what year you were born. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your musical education or just academic education was like. The point is you got to make sure that you get yours and that your family gets yours. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. You just gotta, you gotta find a way to do it. You gotta will it. You gotta, when the publisher was like, hey, do you want to do 10 songs by September 28th? Look, we're currently on the 23rd. I'm about almost 4 songs done. I got to finish some songs when we're done. I got a client right after this. We're doing a track, and then after that, I'm going to stay here and work on those 4 tracks. So you got to find it. You got to just somehow strategically position yourself. So I'm going to close the book on this. Actually, wait, one more thing. Real quick, this is just a little tip for some of you that are interested. In terms of the drum fill, sometimes they get kind of like buried in the mix. And so if you use a little bit of automation, that helps a lot too. But here's a better trick. And let me just show you what this little bump in automation does. Okay, so let's say that you dug it, but it just wasn't as explosive as perhaps you desired. So I'm going to go ahead now then, and I'm going to actually bounce just the fill to audio. Okay, Control B that. We're going to leave the original source, and we'll just call this fill bounce in place, or BIP. All right. So cool. Now we got this fill, and then we're going to use it in conjunction with the other thing, except we're not really going to use the low end. So you can just cut that out. Arbitrary number. I'm just kind of going for it, just trying something. Doing a high shelf EQ just to get some of that higher stuff. Let's just see what this sounds like. And then maybe I'm just going to really saturate the daylights out of it. Let's go. B4. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on now, man. You can do it. You just got to find a way. You got to find a way. All right. So that's one way. Okay, you could also saturate it. So like, let's say you've organized your saturator pluggers. Here's a one knob pressure. This is a nice series. If you haven't checked out plugins by Waves, most of us have. If you're working and active and you know what's up. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this up, and this is just going to basically, from what I understand, compress it and saturate it. Let's check it out. So that's an example of too much. Let's go half of that. Check it out. Still a little heavy. You know what? Let me put it behind the EQ. Does that make sense? Because the order right now is the signal, meaning the drum fill, this yellow thing down here. Okay. And then after this specific region comes pressurizing it or saturating it, distorting it, and then comes this high EQ. And maybe, you know what, I'll duck down a little bit right here. Let's check it out. Okay, cool. I dig it. Let me just bring this down a little bit more. All All right, still pretty good. Now I'm just going to drop the gain, and there you go. Magic. All right, so now let's compare what we had before to what we have now, okay? Here's what we had. Let me go ahead and zero this out because that really won't be a fair challenge. All right, here we go. It's there. It's true, it's there, but it's not really happening, right? It's not really money. You want to make sure that you come in at the right spot, and it's produced, but it's not necessarily overdone, right? Not underdone, not overdone, just right. Here we go. We could have probably got a little bit more off it. Let's try that. Yeah. All right, good. So yeah, in the spirit of Taylor Hawkins, hopefully you enjoyed that series. If you want to get clear on how to write better rock drums, I highly recommend it. Lots of great stuff on the channel. All right, cool. So let me save that. I'm going to finalize the details on this very soon, and then I'll submit it to another one of my contacts, and we'll keep this train going. So let's look at a track. So we'll go here. Boom. Okay. So right now, again, writing some tunes, and the assignment this week was Dramedy. So again, I'm really big on just finding the next opportunity. You're a creative person. You want to prove it to yourself that you could make doing, a living, making a living by doing what you love. It's important to you. It's important to show your community. It's important to prove it to, those people who believe in you. And in order to get into that kind of world, in order to really kind of, come out alive, if you will, you're going to have to be resourceful, obviously. You're going to have to kind of be able to figure things out as you figure things out. So there's a lot of good days, there's a lot of bad days, but it's important just to stay up, right? And just to kind of keep pushing. You develop new muscles, you develop a new kind of understanding as you move the ball forward. And there really isn't a book that's going to show you this. I know we start off by reading, but really that's just a warm-up. That's just a way to get yourself in the proper mental space. It's almost like a ritual. When you start a ritual, what do? You turn on a candle, right? What else do? You maybe turn down the lights a little bit. What else do you do? Like when you meditate, right? You kind of sit, maybe turn on the app, and you start breathing, and maybe you listen to a certain guru or what have you, and it's a series of steps. So in the same way, when you're doing your music, you kind of have to get yourself in that world, in that vibe. Like the worst thing is, you're like in the worst mood ever. You just got in a fight with somebody or something. You just got done arguing. Maybe you're like tripping about some stuff, and then you're like, all right, cool. Now I'm gonna write a song. Like I'm gonna go ahead and start being creative. It's like, that's probably not the greatest idea. Let's use a buffer. Let's kind of like, transition, get ourselves in the right mental space, go ahead and kind of switch that, switch the flip, and make sure that you can kind of move forward into this unconditional, beautiful world of sound. All right. So make sure you create that ritual for yourself, figure out what that is. And it could be different every time. But all right, so here's the tune. Not necessarily done. Right now I'm basically at the stage of applying some sub. I usually don't write bass until the middle or something, because I don't know, I feel like it gets in the way, to be honest. So this song I started by making the theme. In fact, I'll show you how I started writing it. So yeah, to those of you who are new, my name is Eddie Gray, and I'm just showing creative people, composers, how to make money doing what they love. That's the bottom line. This is not a Logic class. I mean, at some point I will focus on Logic, but I'm just showing people, hey, if you want to start to move your career forward and perhaps try out something else in the music industry, there's other paths. You can make money doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Trust me, I've done it with a ton of other opportunities that I never even thought were possible. So yeah, get after it. So the main theme was right here. You see where it says idea generation? Okay, so let's go ahead and just listen to how this started. Okay, so you guys kind of get the gist of it, yeah? So so look, let's be clear about, and I can't play the reference because YouTube has, you know, kind of slapped me in the back of my hand a couple times, so I'm gonna stay away from that. But the idea is that dramedy is a style of music that a ton of television shows use all over the world, syndicated or not. But I mean, this thing is big. It's international. Okay, excuse me. And so dramedy is kind of neutral, emotionally speaking. It's neither too, harrowing or haunting, or it's neither too like nice and sweet and summery. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, where let's say maybe somebody is confronting somebody, but in a maybe lighthearted manner. Nothing. This is not about fighting or anything like that. So dramedy has, usually with it kind of the characteristics are normally like surrounded by like marimbas. I'm using what's called a sansula, which is this beautiful little instrument. Check it out. All right, cool. You know what? I'm noticing like a little bit of clipping, and that's because I have this limiter and it's oversampling, so I'm going to turn that off. I usually use that when I render files. This song is almost done. And so once you find that initial theme or idea, it's different for everybody. You can listen to the next guy and he probably writes his drums first. I kind of like Hans Zimmer's approach a little bit more, where basically he writes the drums last. And from what I understand, the reason he does this is so that he can listen to the entire song and not get distracted by anything else. So when I wrote this, I didn't have any drums. My drums are usually here in red. I basically wrote this main theme with the sansula. I used a library by Sonuscore. That's capital SONUS. Sonuscore. Just continue that on. CORE. Beautiful company, beautiful plugins, all the way. Great stuff. And then I used a marimba by Contact. It's kind of like the stock one that you get when you sign up for the whole Native Instruments bit. And so there's a nice, beautiful marimba. In fact, this is a very complete library, just the stock one. So if you haven't really, spent some time with it, I highly recommend you do. It's legit. All right, so we got that going. And then in order to create space, rather than just playing the theme over and over again, let me see if I can show you what I mean. Okay, so like, I forgot what the chord progression was, but you see how it just keeps going and going? With dramedy, you need space in order to pull it off. It's not like a thing where you're just trying to build and build and build and build. You're trying to actually kind of make a point and then back off. So what I did was I took this marimba and I added Valhalla Shimmer. Now in the world of the composer, this is like a staple for anybody that really takes this work serious. You'll hear it in a ton of movies and productions, and essentially it synthesizes the signal and it just creates this wonderful wash. So the marimba by itself, without any in fact, maybe do I have reverb here? Okay, so it just has some reverb, so it's not a big deal. So without it goes something like this. All right, sounds very mystical. That's just washing and verb. But now run the signal through Shimmer. My feedback is fairly long, and just listen to this wonderful sound here. So you can see that all of a sudden it creates this soundscape, and it's just this beautiful world that just envelopes you and just captures you and takes you away. So if you're looking for that kind of experience, this is the one right here. I don't really know who can do it better. Valhalla, they got it down. They're the kings as far as this goes. So I got this marimba here in pre-fader mode inside of Logic in order to get more of the effect and less of the actual signal. I'm gonna close the library Y, I'm gonna close the inspector I, and then I created space by basically taking the progression and editing out. You guys, I can't necessarily just play it all. Like, that's not my style. I'm more of a, how do I get it done and then I climb the mountain kind of guy. All right. So I first just get it on paper. It's like I just kind of need to get through that first step. And you know what? That's the problem that most people, beginners especially, meet, is they're not willing to go through that first step. In the beginning, that first step takes a long time. It's exhausting. I remember, man, 7 years ago, just one song would take me 2 weeks, a week, just one section would take me like 17 hours. Everything was like a hurdle. Everything took time. Everything was laborious. But as you keep advancing and as you keep proving yourself to yourself, but also, in my opinion, the DAW, you start forming this relationship, you start forming this connection. It really is surreal. You cannot explain it with words. This is another level of experience. So no longer just theory, no longer just this concept, but like a reality that actually exists. And when you develop this relationship to it, I am telling you right now, it will happen by itself. The music will start to work with you. It'll start writing itself. So like with this, I didn't even know what I was formulating. I just kind of put it on paper, and then slowly but surely the idea starts coming. All right, so let me go ahead and play from here, and then basically we'll start drafting out the bass part, and then we'll see what else it needs. But this music is very simple. Again, another encouraging factor about music is you don't have to be some like really decked out producer with a bunch of creds. There is a space for you if you're willing to take it. You got to somehow convince yourself first, and then you got to convince other people after that. Not because it's a game or something like that, but because it's yours, and you can, and you will. You'll see. But you got to get on the course. You got to stay on the course. Here we go. Okay, so we'll get into that next section. So obviously, we're just making kind of a musical statement. And it doesn't matter which genre it is, you just kind of keep finding whatever the groove is. If it's like one scale, or if it's requires you to be faster, it's always so different. So just kind of get into the song that you're working on right now. So right now I'm going to use this key command. It's called trim note and to selected. So it's forcing it to be connected or legato jointed. So it's shift backslash. All right. So then now everything is kind of uniform and lengthened and extended over to the next note. So this is a very important key command for those of you that are serious. Go ahead and learn your DW's equivalent. All right. Trim note and to selected, force legato. Good. What's up? How's it going? Yo, appreciate it. Thank you. Much love, much respect. So yeah, that's good to know. And then after you go ahead and put a sub bass, and why are you putting a sub bass? To add depth, to add weight, to add the bottom. And you'd be surprised, it doesn't even have to be that loud. But you might benefit from compressing or limiting it. It's up to you how you want to do it. I'm just going to use a VCA, and I like that it's very gentle. So I'm going to go ahead and use a soft knee. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will just keep working on the craft. But basically, we're just leveling out the signal. We want the compressor to basically hit the we want the signal to hit the compressor and just be completely stable from the very beginning to the very end. Here we go. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm liking how that sounds. One thing here is this shimmer. I'm gonna try and see if I can control this wild stallion. Maybe back off a little bit. Maybe let's work on maybe bringing the size a little bit back. And man, I got the best technique to learn any plugin. I got to show you guys at some point, but we'll get into it. It's so boundless, isn't it? Like, for those of you who are working in this world, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll sit here. I mean, especially in like music licensing, like we're talking every genre conceivable that people are requesting from you. Like just this week, HF Music Academy, we're working on Heartland. We're working on a show called Go Big. Just finished the NFL. We're about to work on hip hop and investigative music. I got to put the brief up. I'm working on this, dramedy stuff, and working on Tick and Tension for one of the biggest publishers in NY. And you could see that all, you got to be so well rounded and so prepared and ready for the task at hand. Like, man, it really is awesome. It's just like, it's pretty wild. So cool. I like what's happening here. Let me go ahead and hear that back, and then we'll listen to this B section. There was something else I wanted to tell you. Let me mull it over one sec. All right, cool. And actually, you know what, man? I just realized time flies. So I got a client coming in 5 minutes. So here's what's important. Sometimes if you don't get the right blend of what you're looking for, like when I initially made this marimba shimmer, I was trying to basically get it to kill or to cover up some of the dead space. So go ahead and listen to it real quick. But it felt empty. It felt like there needed to be another sound, another voice. And so what I did was I used Hollywood backup singers by Play. Incredible. Hold on, let me show you what this sounds like. Such an incredible plugin. Check this out. So what I did was I just put that to almost kind of like pretend that it's just kind of in that space. So look, I filtered it out, right? And then I used a bunch of reverb to kind of cloud it up a little bit. And then finally, just, put a little bit more reverb on the bus. And then now when we hear it, check it out. So now it's kind of filling in the gaps when this other part is not. So sometimes you might have to manufacture the reverb or the the space that you're trying to create if reverb isn't doing the job for you. And here I just did it with these backups. This wasn't something I had ever done before, but I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't I use backup singers? I had never even used the plugin, but I remember that East West, when they created it, I saw kind of the promo for it, and it was heavily sampled and it was super professionally done. So I figured, why not? So anyway, here we go. And by the way, this all needs to be edited. Like, I'm going to go in here, give it a second pass, but I think you're understanding the emotion that I wish to convey. Let's go. What up, Steven? How's it going, man? Could be Stefan as well. More space. Yeah, so when you're writing your music, you know, listen to the genre standard. Make sure you follow it. So yeah, in closing here, I want you to trust yourself. You know what to do. Remember, you know what to do. You just got to get back to that source. Why did you get started in the first place? And when you remember that, you will finally live your purpose. You will finally start to see the return on your investment. You will finally start to see the sacrifices that you've made pay off. But it's not until you really commit yourself fully to the craft that it will give it back to you. But you got to commit. You got to commit. So that being said, my name is Eddie Gray. I got a client after this, guys. Man, I love you guys. I want you guys to win. You have no idea. It's from the bottom of my heart. I want you to win in such a deep way, and I will keep fighting, and I will keep showing up every single Monday and Wednesday if I can. If the studio is set up, I'm gonna make sure that I keep providing the real deal info to make sure that you move forward. Look, I came up, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of you up as well. If you guys are ready, if you want it, I'm ready too. So let's get it. If you need more information on us, go ahead and check us out at hfmusicacademy.com. Do me a big favor, email support@hfmusicacademy.com if you need anything, if you have any questions, if you would like some free resources. And lastly, I ask you from the bottom of my heart, if you like the channel, if you feel it's useful, if you feel that it's valuable and it's actually providing something of value to you, that you send it to somebody that you love, a cousin, a friend, a best friend, an acquaintance that could potentially benefit from it. All right. This world of modern music production is not necessarily the easiest path. Believe me, I've had to discover it on my own. I wish I had the right mentorship, but you know what? You'll find that there's a lot of people that are actually snakes in this industry. You'll find that there's a lot of people that are liars. Trust me, I've met specifically one guy, and I want to make sure that I'm a light, that I'm a beacon for some of you. And if it calls you, and if you want to go ahead and listen to the information, and if you want to go ahead and study and analyze with me and grow with me and evolve with me and move forward, then let's do it. All right. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I have a client. Again, thank you very much. Go ahead and like, subscribe. And again, we now have super chats. We now have super stickers. We're moving forward, guys. Bless you guys very much. And much love to everybody. Sarah Johnson, Stefan, yup, Angelina, yup, all the good people out there. Keep moving forward. We love you guys. All right. We're out of here. Peace.